watch.
2, 1. You're good to go.
All right, welcome back to the Fantasy Football and Chill podcast. I'm Josh. We got Jason, Cade, and Austin here. Segment one is going to be Super Bowl, and we're going to talk about predictions and how we think the game's going to go. And then we got three more segments after that. We'll let you know about that whenever we come back from the first segment. But yeah, I'll go ahead and hand it off to Austin to give us his Super Bowl predictions.
Thank you, Josh. I thought I muted my mic, so I apologize about that. But nobody's watching the first 30 seconds anyway. But so give me my Super Bowl prediction. If I had to take a wild guess at this current moment in time, I'm going to smack the Eagles winning. And it's going to be a little more than the spread has of 1.5. I think it's going to be probably a field goal game, truthfully. I wouldn't be surprised because we actually kind of talked about this briefly before we started. The script writers in the NFL are kind of going crazy this year. I'm expecting an OT match, and I'm expecting a field goal is going to differentiate in OT. So I think it's going to be like a 31-28 Eagles win. And then I can go further in detail on that, but I don't really feel like elaborating too much on it. So I'll pass it off to Cade, and then we'll work our way back to Jay.
I'm all over the scripts as well. I found a great one for myself. I think that works out great. I saw 37-34 Eagles based off the script. Little Isaiah Pacheco touchdown, little Devontae Smith touchdown. I think it's to win the game. So I got the Eagles regardless of the script BS that's going around. I got the Eagles winning it. I'd say it's going to be a field goal too. But I could see the Eagles winning by a touchdown. Maybe a touchdown drive the Chiefs might need and it comes up short.
Yeah, give me Philadelphia. I mean not God, what am I saying? Not Philadelphia. Give me Kansas City. I've been with Kansas City this whole time. I think they're not the better team, but they got Mahomes and Andy Reid and Kelsey, and I like them. I like them in the big games and situations like this. They've been here before. Give me Kansas City 33-30.
Yeah, I agree with Jason, and I agree with Austin. I think it's going to be a field goal game, but I do believe it's going to be KC that wins, just purely based off experience. I think they're both really good teams. It's going to be a battle in the trenches. Eagles have a really good O line, and then Kansas City has a really good defensive line. I think there's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be a dogfight in the trenches, but I think that KC is going to win by 3. I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game, like we've all said, like probably like a 30-33 kind of game. But yeah, I think that Patrick Mahomes, he's been here before, he's won it before, and you can't say the same for Jalen Hurts. So I like that advantage for KC.
Following that up, I have 2 questions to kind of tag along to. So my first one is, who do you think the X factors of these games going to be? Which I'm pretty sure I don't really need to redefine it, but for the viewers out there, the X factor is somebody who's going to be your playmaker. You're somebody who's going to make the difference. Yeah, it's going to be a game changer. So if you guys had to define one player on both sides of the field for each team, who do you think is going to be the players that are going to make the biggest?
So real quick, just to kind of clarify, are we talking about like X factors, meaning the top players on each side of the ball? Or are we talking about like in this game, this is somebody that needs to step up and could make a big impact, but you might not necessarily expect.
So
like it might not,
I'm not defining it. I'm defining it as anybody, because I'm not defining it as
Okay.
like your best
All
players are going out there playing their best game, because realistically that doesn't always play out. So I'm talking about the guys who you think are going to make the largest impact on this game, whether they're the superstars of the team, whether they're the role players. What do you guys think are going to be the biggest players to make a quake? We'll work backwards. So we'll work from Josh back to me.
I mean, seeing as I say that KC's going to win, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, I think he's going to come up huge. I think him and Travis Kelce are going to really have a good connection. I also think McCole Hardman, he's had some time to kind of rest up and get healthy. I think that his speed's going to really be, help them out a lot. And I don't know. I don't think he'll have like multiple touchdowns or anything, but I think that he'll definitely, have a few bombs. But yeah, I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes is just going to go crazy. He's been through a lot this season, and I think that he's going to, put it all on the line for this game. So
Jade?
now Jason, yeah.
Or me? Okay.
Yeah.
So for starting with Philadelphia, I'm going to say, I'm thinking about a couple guys, but I'm going to go with Devontae Smith. And the reason I'm going to go with Devontae is because I think he's going to see a lot of second corner options against him. And, I think the top corner on Kansas City is L'Jarius Sneed. Pretty good corner. So I think he's probably going to be following A.J. Brown for the most part. And I think Devontae is the type of guy you can move around in the slot outside. He had almost 1,200 yards this year. I believe he had 95 catches and 7 touchdowns. So, yeah, he's definitely going to be a guy that I think is going to tear it up and beat a lot of the second corners because I think he more than likely is going to go against, what's his name, the rookie Trent McDuffie. So that could definitely be a X factor in this game. And then Kansas City, give me Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's going to really be tested this week, this game. Going against Philly, who has an incredible D line and front seven. I really, really think that he's a rookie. He's had a great year. There's been a lot of hype around him. But I think this is going to be like the key game. Okay, can he do it going against an elite defense and an elite front seven? And if he can do that, I think that'll be the difference in this entire game.
I was actually right there with you, Jason, on the X factors. I think
Same guys?
Yeah, I think
Wow.
Smith is going to be the difference maker for the Eagles in regards to their offense. I think he's someone that can really test them deep and kind of open up other things. If he's not able to do that, I think everybody wants to see a scoring game, and I don't think if he's able to do that, it kind of slows down the game a little bit. I think AJ is going to get his touches and his time for sure. He's going to get those looks, but I think the Chiefs will probably scheme for that a little bit, as you have to. And then offensively for the Chiefs, I think it's Pacheco as well. I mean, we talked about, I think last time, the whole Kelsey deal. I mean, what to do. I don't know if it was on the podcast or not, but with each other, we're talking about what do you do with Kelsey and whatever else. I think Kelsey is still going to do what Kelsey usually does. And I think the difference maker for them is either running game with Pacheco. So I'm right on board with you.
Awesome. Agreed.
Probably should have specified what I meant when I said this, so I'm going to go over what I meant, and then I'll explain it afterwards. I'll go over my picks, and then I'll explain what I meant. So, for the Eagles' offense, I'm going to go with Jason Kelsey, and I say that not because he's facing his brother, but I think his matchup is going to be crucial against Chris Jones, and okay. I think in order for the Eagles to have a successful time against the Chiefs, they're going to have to do a good job of managing Chris Jones and that defensive line, and if they win in the trenches, which means if he's doing a good job assisting, because usually he double team blocks. He doesn't usually isolate block, but I honestly think that the game is going to be in the trenches for that offense, and if they can win on that side, I think it's going to be great for them. And then on the flip side, on defense, I kind of wanted to go for both teams, both offense and defense. That's kind of what I was going for. I think it's going to be I don't want to say they're secondary for the Eagles, but I think Darius Slay and James Bradbury need to play at their caliber. Now, they're not going to be playing against like top 5 wide receivers, but these guys are quick. And I mean, if they don't let them get behind, as long as I don't know what they're going to scheme. They'll probably do a fair amount of zone in this game. So as long as they stay disciplined with their zones, as long as they pass off the guys to the middle, play well-disciplined zone, I think they're going to do a good job against this team. But it's the speed that really, I would say, scares me. And I think Slay and Bradbury can match up with this well, but it's really just going to be how disciplined they play. And then on the flip side, Kansas City, I don't want to say Pacheco because you guys already did that, but that's my guy. But I want to say it's MVS for the reason that Josh was talking about earlier. Last week, MVS was kind of their playmaker.
Threat.
Yeah, he was the guy who could pull coverages down further. I mean, he had quite the game, and I think the Eagles are going to have to scheme against that. And I think it's his job to have like a Tyreek Hill effect. And on the defense, preaching in the choir, Chris Jones, no surprise. He's an absolute disruptor in the middle. If he can do a good job against the Eagles offensive line, they're going to control the pace of this game. So that's what I meant when controlling the trenches. So that's kind of what I was hoping we'd kind of go for, which was like 4 guys in total. But that's on me for not clarifying.
Question real quick.
What's up?
What do you want to change your pick on Chris Jones because he's not going to be going against Kelsey? He's going to be going against more like the B gap because their nose tackle Brandon Williams he's going to line up against Kelsey.
Well, no,
so he'll probably go against. Go ahead.
I was going to say Kelsey. So honestly, I feel like he doesn't really necessarily match up most of the time against somebody. I feel like the Eagles do a really good job of scheming blocks where he assists, not so much of taking one-on-one opportunities.
Well, they run a 3-4 though, so they're going to have 5 linemen.
I get you.
3 down and 2, so it's going to be more like
they'll
5
have
on
actually
5.
somebody matched up on Kelsey. I got
more
you.
than likely, yeah.
Then
I mean, they still have good guards. Like their guards are pretty damn good too. And Kelsey's he probably will go against Chris Jones a few times.
Yeah. Then it's either gonna be Mailata or it's gonna be what's his name? Oh, it's not Dickerson, is it?
No, Mailata's tackle.
Is he a tackle?
Dickerson's
is he
guard.
left tackle?
Yeah, he's left tackle.
Okay.
And then
Dickerson's
sure
left
guard, or is he right guard?
Right. I'm not sure, but they have that.
Their tackle, isn't he?
Both their guards are good. That's what I know. Their entire line across is freaking amazing. I mean, it might be the best since Dallas, like 2000. What was it? The year where they had DeMarco Murray.
Was that 17 or 16?
15, I thought it was like 14.
It actually might be 15. DeMarco Murray.
It was 14 because they lost to. Was that the year they lost to Green Bay in the playoffs? Oh wait, that was a couple times. Where like the Dez catch thing or whatever. I thought it was that year. No.
Let's see.
When did DeMarco win offensive player?
Oh, I'm seeing here that they're not going to have McCole Hardman. He's out.
Yeah, but I mean, he's kind of a gadget guy at this point. I feel like.
I feel like you could say the same with MVS or CAD.
MVS, I think, is a little better though. Yeah, but Kadarius is like.
He's a joystick.
Yeah.
Dude, you forgot when McCole Hardman was balling out earlier this season. Mm-hmm. He was balling for like a few games.
I haven't watched enough on him, so I can't
quick.
speak on it.
I think it's
he's fast.
I feel like they've integrated MVS and Kadarius Toney to kind of fit that role, so I don't think they're really lacking in that spot anymore.
No.
I assume.
Yeah, so it's 2013. That year, 2013 or 14.
What was my second question? Fuck.
X Factors?
It was beyond X Factors. I was going to say, it was going to be something along the lines of, why do we think it's going to be so like heavily offensive oriented when last game we watched the Chiefs barely put up a 20 spot and the Eagles were only able to put up 31 because the 49ers didn't have a quarterback throwing the football? What makes you guys think that this is going to be so offense oriented?
Just because it's like, I mean, I don't know. The Super Bowl historically isn't necessarily really high scoring, but I don't know, man. It's Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, 2 of like arguably probably the top 2 quarterbacks. I mean, definitely this season, top 2 quarterbacks this season. I mean, they're both MVP candidates. I mean, but you're right. I mean, they both. I mean, not to knock their defense, but it's just like the caliber of players that they have on both of those offenses is just insane. I think another big X factor that we haven't talked about is these refs.
The script,
the refs, the crew that's doing the Super Bowl had threw the most flags this season of any other crew of refs for the second year in a row. They've led the league in flags thrown for 2 seasons in a row, and they're doing the Super Bowl. I think I saw that they average like 12 penalties a game. That they 12 or 13 or something like that. And so,
So it's gonna be 12 on
I think
Philadelphia.
yeah,
I mean 12
I
on
think it'll
Kansas
be
City.
Yeah,
I think it'll be quite the X factor in this game.
It'll be 12 on whatever team loses the coin toss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which we'll talk about a little bit in the next segment.
Just real quick on that, I think the hope is it is like a scoring and offensive kind of game. I think that's, like I said in my X Factor thing, like that's what you root for, of course, as a fan, whatever. The ref thing's interesting because that just kind of really disrupts the flow of the game and stuff like that. And you kind of make a big passing play or a big running play. Oh, hold them, bring that back. Like that really can mess with the flow. And then, you start getting behind the chains a lot. And then, just becomes a struggle. But I don't know. I guess I don't have like the greatest point. I think, like Josh said, quarterbacks, offensive firepower on either side just, for me, makes it feel like it's going to be offensive.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an offensive game. You have the number 1 ranked offense this year in Kansas City, and then Philadelphia is number 3 behind Kansas City and Buffalo. The only thing I want to add is that these defenses are pretty good. You do have Philadelphia, who finished as the second best defense, and then Kansas City finished 11th, so that's not too bad either. And everyone's talking about how much better Philadelphia's defense is than Kansas City's, but Kansas City is only giving up 21.7 points a game this year. Philadelphia is only giving up 20.2, so that's what is that 1.5 points a game. It's not too big, but yeah, I think. What, Josh?
And I'm saying, like, regardless of where they rank in their defense, I think I saw that KC is number 1 in pass rush, and then Eagles are number 1 in pass protection.
Not San Fran.
Wait, hold up. What do you define as pass rush? Because the Eagles led the league in sacks.
Pressure.
Pressures, yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's usually pressures.
Yeah, that dude. What's his name? Last name Gay. Was it Willie Gay?
Willie Gay, the linebacker.
Yeah. I mean, that dude had like, I want to say he like led the league in pressures or close to it.
I thought he's a middle linebacker. No.
Yeah, but he's often going after the quarterback.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, Chris Jones, and they have.
I want to say it was like number 2. I want to say it was like 2 or 3 in pressures.
George what's his name? George Karlaftis?
Yeah,
Karlaftis.
I know who you're talking
about. Karlaftis, yeah. He was a
beast.
first round pick out of Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, George Karlaftis. He was good. And then yeah, so I think when you have the 2 best quarterbacks in the NFL this year, the MVP candidates, and you have all these weapons, I think it's going to be a pretty good match. The only thing that scares me a little bit for KC is their offensive line.
Yep, I agree. But yeah, it's like what I was saying. I mean, number 1 in pass rush versus number 1 in pass protection. I mean, that's why I say it's going to be a battle in the trenches.
So I just want to throw out that Nick Bosa led the league in pressures. Max Crosby was 2nd, and Chris Jones was 3rd, which is no surprise.
Chris Jones is 3rd.
Yeah, and then Hassan.
You see where Willie Gay is?
Willie Gay is outside of the top 20.
Oh, never mind. Don't listen to
me.
So
I'd be careful with the Hassan Reddick thing, just because that D line is loaded.
I'm not.
It's kind of good. Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's phenomenal. I'm just saying that whole defensive line allows the others to kind of do well.
Like there's an edge rusher in Pittsburgh, and everybody, I forgot his name but he's like a younger edge rusher, and everybody's hyping him up.
Yeah.
It's not TJ, but everybody's hyping him up.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
it's
his second year. I can't think of his name right now, but he was.
It's Newsome. Is it Newsome? No.
He had 8.5 sacks, didn't he? I feel like I know who you're talking about.
He like exploded for like 2-3 games, and people were like, "Oh my god, he's gonna be the next this or that." And I was like,
"Yeah." It's like his. I'll find his name.
I could probably find it right now.
Yeah, but I was saying, so he looks like he's a pretty decent young player, but I think people overhyped him and kind of made him seem like he's like this elite edge rusher, but they're not taking into consideration that you have TJ Watt on one side getting a lot of double teams, and then
Cameron
have
Hayward.
Cameron Hayward there, and then what's the other guy? Stephen Tuitt, Cade. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's I think you said it
Tuitt
right.
or something.
Yeah,
He's
I
still
honestly,
playing,
it's
right?
kind of weird how you say it.
It's
Who
so there's
retired on that
Larry.
line?
There's Montravius Adams,
No,
Cameron Hayward,
is it?
T.J. Watt, Larry
No,
Ogunjobi.
no,
Ogunjobi.
it's not him.
He's kind of like he kind of plays linebacker at times.
He's an edge guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll find it.
Malik
I want to say it's
Reed,
like
Amike
Newsome
Egbuna.
or Howsome. It's some weird name.
I'm looking through their roster right now.
Is it Highsmith?
No.
Highsmith, that's it.
Oh, it
Yes,
actually
it's
is.
Highsmith. Yeah, that's it.
Alex
Alex
Highsmith?
Highsmith. Yeah, that's who I
Charlotte
was talking
native.
about. Yeah,
you know,
no, he's a pretty decent young player, but I'm just saying, I think sometimes like having all these guys on the D line can kind of help you. And I think we're kind of seeing that in Philadelphia with like Hassan Reddick. He's a pretty good edge rusher, but it's really like this. Is he as good as like Nick Bosa? I mean, look what happened with Robert Quinn in Chicago a year ago. Everyone was saying, because how many sacks did he have? 18?
18 and a half.
Yeah, and how many pressures did he have? 35?
He
That's
had
like
little
never
to no.
happened.
The dude, he was
Yeah.
the epitome of the Russell Westbrook to football. Like he was just
Exactly.
stat padding.
Mhm.
Exactly. And then a guy like Rashawn Gary had 65 pressures and he only had 8 sacks. You know, so that's why I think pressures are more important, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At least.
I agree.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, wrapping it up. I'm trying to think of what other topics we can kind of tag on before we kind of move to our next segment.
Score predictions.
We already did. We all hit score
Okay.
predictions.
Favorite commercial you guys are looking forward to?
Budweiser. Trying to see
I always
that
look to
first.
the Dorito. I always look forward to the Doritos commercials.
That's what I was gonna say. Doritos.
We'll see what kind of banger Burger King drops too.
Yeah, they got to come
So
up with some
do
heat.
They gotta top
Oh,
that.
yeah.
They got to.
What was it? The $4 whatever.
$5.
Whopper.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's always after like an injury or some critical point in the game. Like someone just lost his hand and they put
Yeah,
that
you're fucking.
song on. They put that on after the DeMar
Like-
Hamlin thing.
Patrick Mahomes fell into a wood chipper. Whopper.
You guys see that like the meme about Chris Collinsworth when the Trevor Lawrence like bomb and then Patrick Mahomes like throwing the ball on the ground and he criticized Lawrence and then he's like, "Wow, what a throw by Mahomes!"
Yeah, because he got out of it. He like, yeah, and he's like, wow, that was
Yeah.
just spectacular. So I'm like, Mahomes.
He like basically spiked the ball and then Lawrence like it was that like 60-yard pass he threw to Christian Kirk that he dropped and he goes, "Man, he just overthrew him again."
Classic.
All right,
Gotta
let's wrap
love
this
Chris.
segment up.
Yeah. So once we come back, we will be discussing a little bit
Odds.
of where Cade and Jason stand on in their better understanding, which is spreads, odds, and we're gonna talk a little bit about how the coin toss kind of plays a factor in the Super Bowl. So we'll see you guys back probably the next 5 to 10 minutes.